Okay, so we will have a revision on breathing in other animals. So as we all know, what do you mean by breathing? Breathing and respiration. So we will talk about breathing in other animals. In humans, we know how breathing take place. Okay, in humans, we know that we take in oxygen. That oxygen, what happens? It goes to our lungs where exchange of gases takes place. Okay, and the food that we eat, the food which we have eaten, okay, from there the food is burnt, which gives energy, and after giving energy, what happens? It releases carbon dioxide, and through carbon dioxide, that carbon dioxide again passes through the lungs and their exchange of gases takes place. Okay, breathing in other animals. Let's talk about fish. So how do fish breathe? They breathe through gills. Okay, and what do they breathe? They breathe oxygen. They breathe oxygen, which is present is dissolved in water, and as we all know, water contains hydrogen and oxygen. So they breathe in oxygen which is dissolved in water through gills. Gills have some specialized organ. Gills have some specialized organ. That means they have fine capillaries. Okay, they have, gills have fine capillaries which is connected to blood vessels. Okay, and these blood vessels, they send oxygen inside the body, that means through gills, and again carbon dioxide is released from this blood vessel only. Okay, and it is directly released in water bodies. Then another one who breathe through gills, mostly aquatic animals, mostly fish and other aquatic animals. But what about whale and dolphin? As we all know, whale is a mammal. They are not fish. Okay, and they don't breathe through gills. They breathe through lungs. So how do they breathe? They come to the shore, that means surface of the water. They take in oxygen from the air, not from the water. Okay, and then again goes down. So they have that adaptations, okay, to take in oxygen from the air, okay, after coming from the shore. Then another things, we have tadpoles. Tadpole means frog tadpole. Okay, so when, as we all know, frog is an amphibian. They can live both on land and water. So tadpoles, they live on water first of all. Tadpole, they breathe through gills, which is developed in the tadpole. After, when it grows, that gills is reduced or is dormant, and they develop lungs, okay, for breathing in land. Okay, so in initial stage, you can say that tadpole or frog can breathe through gills, through lungs, and through skin, all the three. Okay, but make sure that when they are in land, they breathe through lungs, but when they are in water, they breathe through skin, not gills, because gills will be dominated. It will be vestigial. It will be of no use, okay, during the growth or development. Then let's talk about insects. Insects like grasshopper and cockroach. They are also land animals, but they don't have lungs or gills. Insects like cockroach and grasshopper. They breathe through trachea or spiracles. Okay, trachea is also present in human body also, human lungs also. Okay, but lung is attached to trachea, whereas in case of insects, trachea and spiracles are present. These are tube-like structure, which is directly attached to the blood vessels, and through blood vessel the exchange of gases take place. That means through trachea and spiracles, or you can say air tubes. Okay, you can write air tubes. Then earthworm. Earthworm, as we all know, they live on ground. That means they live on soil. So they don't have some specialized organ. They breathe through skin. Most skin. They breathe through most skin. Okay, and these skins are attached to blood capillaries, blood vessels. So this was all about breathing in other animals like fish, insects and earthworm. Then let's talk about respiration in plants. Respiration in plants. So as we all know, respiration also takes place in plants. But what happens in most plants, they don't take in oxygen. They take carbon dioxide. Okay, they take carbon dioxide. So let's talk about respiration in plants. So as we all know, respiration in animals can be seen. Okay, like when we respire, our body moves. Okay, that means the lungs, it expands and it contracts. Okay, and due to that we can see or we can feel it, that we are respiring or we are breathing. Whereas in plants, respiration is not seen. Respiration is not absorbed or seen. Okay, we can't see that respiration is taking place in plants or not. Okay, but it takes place, and it takes place by root, stem and leaves. By roots, by stem and by leaves. Okay, in roots, in terms of roots, the outer surface of the root has a thin layer of cells called epiphyllum. It respires through, there is a cell. Okay, in roots there is a cell named Hibelma which is responsible for respiration in plants in roots. In stem we have lenticels. We have lenticels. Which helps respiration in stem. Okay, there is an opening called lenticels, and in leaves we have stoma or stomata for respiration. Apart from this, okay, the respiration mostly takes place in cell organelles. Cell organelles means, as we all know, cells in plants do not have cell wall, okay, and they have various cell organelles. They have nucleus, okay, we have mitochondria, we have endoplasmic reticulum, we have Golgi apparatus, okay. So these all are cell organelles. That means the parts of the cell, okay, the components of the cell. So micro respiration in plants mostly takes place in mitochondria. Occurs in mitochondria of the cell. Always remember. Okay, so this was all about respiration in plants. So let's talk about stomatal apparatus or stoma. So a stomatal opening surrounds with two guard cells and several subsidiary cells is called stomatal apparatus. So what happens in stomata? So stomata is the place, okay, where carbon dioxide is taken by the plants, okay, during the process of preparation of food, okay, in the process of photosynthesis, by the process of photosynthesis. So stomata are present at the base of the leaves, and it contains what? An opening called stomata. Contains an opening called stomata, okay, and there is a contraction and expansion of stomata. As we have contraction and expansion of lungs, okay, we have a contraction and expansion of lungs. Similarly, stomata also contracts and expands, and that is caused due to guard cells. That is caused due to guard cells present in leaves. Okay, that is caused due to guard cells present in leaves. Okay, and these guard cells are mostly works by the principle of flow of water in the plants. So this was all about plant respiration and difference between respiration and photosynthesis, as we can mention. So that can be done. So respiration mostly takes place in animals and humans, whereas photosynthesis takes place in plants. For respiration, oxygen is required, which is released by the plants during the process of photosynthesis. In return, carbon dioxide is released, giving energy. Whereas in photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is used in the preparation of food, using the sunlight and chlorophyll and water from the soil. One more thing, respiration or breathing can be seen or can be observed, whereas respiration in plants can't be seen, or respiration of photosynthesis can't be seen or can't be observed. Okay, so this was all about respiration. Now we will move towards circulatory system. That means transportation in animals. Okay, that means transportation in animals. So in circulatory system, it is a system which carries blood, okay, throughout the body, and this system involves heart, blood vessels and blood. Okay, so as we all know, circulatory system function to circulate the blood, that means to transport the blood throughout the body, and some organs or some tissues associated with circulatory system are heart, blood vessel and blood. Okay, so let's talk about blood. So blood is a fluid connective tissue. So blood is a tissue, it is a fluid connective tissue or liquid connective tissue. Okay, and an average person contain 4 to 6 liter of blood. 4 to 6 liter of blood is present in an average human being. So what are the constituent of blood? So blood contains, number 1, RBC, red blood cell, which is also it also has another name which is called erythrocytes. Second one, WBC, a white blood cell. It also has another name which we called leukocytes. Then we have blood platelets, which is also called thrombocytes. Which is also called thrombocytes. Then we have blood plasma, which contains soluble part of the blood. That means mostly ions. Mostly ions are contained in the blood plasma. At last we have blood serum, which contains mostly protein fibrogen. It contains protein fibrogen. But RBC also contain one protein, okay, which makes it color red. And that the name of that protein is hemoglobin. The name of that protein is hemoglobin. It is a protein present in RBC, which is responsible for red color in our blood. Okay, which is responsible for red color in a blood. So we have various function of RBC, WBC, blood platelets, blood plasma and blood serum. So function of RBC is mostly to transport molecular oxygen from lungs to tissue. So function of RBC is to transfer molecular oxygen that means it acts as a transfer of molecular oxygen. Then WBC, which act as a protective cell. WBC act as a protective cell which protects us from various diseases. Then we have blood platelets, they have another functions. Okay, similarly blood plasma, blood serum, they have different functions like blood clotting, etc. Okay, then but more important function related to blood is to it acts as a vehicle for transport of nutrients. That means transport of oxygen, transport of nutrients throughout the body. Okay, where heart and lungs are associated. The heart and lungs are associated. Okay, now let's talk about blood vessels. So blood vessel means the pathway through which blood flows throughout the body. So basically blood vessel constitute three parts. Number one, arteries. Number two, vein, and number three, capillaries. Okay. So arteries are thick blood vessels which carry deoxygenated blood. So let's talk about arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries and capillaries. So we have three types of blood vessel present in our body. Okay. So arteries, veins are thin walled. Arteries also are thin walled. Capillaries, they are thick walled, and capillaries are thin walled. That means we can say that vein and capillaries are thin walled and arteries are thick walled. And arteries, they are the greenish tube which can be seen on hand and legs. We have a greenish tube, okay, which is present at the upper layer of the at the base of the skin. They are greenish in color, okay, and these are arteries.